Example we'll be looking at is this. What number is represented by the numeral DCXLIV? Remember the last time I gave you 7 keys. Remember what those 7 keys are? Now I'm going to remind you. The 7 keys, we have our I to be what? 1. We have our V to be what? 5. X is what? 10, and we have the L to be what? 50. We have the Roman numeral D to be what? 500. We have our C to be what? 100, and we have our letter M to be what? 1000. So you see, these 7 key Roman symbols are what you should have in your fingertips. With this, you can form complex Roman numerals. Now, last time I gave you 2 important points, and those are the points you need in solving this. Now, let's look at how we'll solve this question. We have D, C, X, L, I, what? V. In our last video lessons, I told you that when you have a smaller numeral behind a larger one, you do what? You subtract. Now the other part I told you is when you have a larger one in a smaller numeral in front of a larger one, you do what? You add. So that one is a norm, we add. But when you are given any number like this, you have to look at the smaller Roman numeral that appears in front of a larger one. Remember, for that, you always do what? Subtract. Now let's look at this Roman number that have been given to us, and we are asked to convert them into an Arabic number. Now we have D and C. D and C. D is larger, is behind the smaller one. We don't need it. We have X and L. L is a larger one and is in front of the X is a smaller one and it's behind the larger one. We do what? We underline this, and we underline this because 1 is a smaller Roman numeral and is right behind a larger one. So that shows us that we are going to what? To subtract these 2. So now let's go using this match we have here. Remember, our D is what? 500. And because C comes in front of 500, we're going to what? We're going to add it. Then plus 50 is what? L. 50 minus what? 10. Why? Because X is right behind what? 50. Remember I told you, you do what? You subtract. Now plus 4, we have 5. 1 is behind 5, you do what? You subtract. And that is exactly what we are going to have. So let's simplify this. This plus this will give us what? 600 plus this will give us what? 40 plus this will give us what? 4. When we add this, we're going to have 6, 4 and what? And 4. So D, C, X, L, I, V will be equal to what? 600 and what? 44. You see, very easy. So if you follow the 2 principles I gave you in the previous lessons alongside with your 7 keys, you should be able to solve questions like this. And if you are taking the common entrance, this question can come in another form. Do you want to know that? Let's look at that as our sample 2. In this sample 2, I will show you another method through which this question might come, and you'll see them happen. In your exams, you might be asked to what? To evaluate. You might be asked to evaluate this Roman numeral and then leave your answers in what? In Roman numerals. How do we go about doing that? We have our LX, V what? VI. And the next one we are going to have is what? XC, I what? IV. Now, do you notice these 2 Roman numerals? They are the 2 Roman numerals you might be given. Let's take this as what? As L. We want to take this so that we can be able to solve them easily. X what? I. Let's assume we are given that, and we are given XC, IV. And you are asked to add these 2 Roman numerals and leave your answer in Roman numeral. How do we go about doing this? Now you're going to see. The same way we did this first sample, we're going to go that same way in handling this second sample. Now we have our L, V, X what I, and we have our what X, C, I what V. We want to convert them to what algebraic numbers first, so that when we do our addition in algebraic numbers, we can now change their result back to Roman what numeral. That is the step you should take. Now the first thing you should look at is there any smaller number that comes behind a larger one? If it happens, we'll have to do what? We have to underline them. Now let's look at the first one. We have LVXI. Now notice that V comes before what? Before X, and what? V is a smaller value to X, so we underline what? We underline that value. So we also come here, X and this comes, X comes behind C, which is larger, and this comes behind what? V, which is larger. So that means this and this will subtract. Now see how we do it. We have our what? We have our 50 plus, remember these two, we're going to subtract what? 10 minus what? 10 minus 5, because 10 is X and 5 is what? V, and then we're going to add what? Add our what? 1, which is I. Now for this, we are going to have our what? We're going to have our 100 minus 10, then plus what? 5 minus what? 1. Very easy. So the first one, we are going to have our LVXI to be equal to what? 50 plus what? Plus 5 plus what? 1, which is equal to what? 50 what? 6. So for this, we're going to have what? We're going to have what? 90 plus what? Plus 4, which is equal to 90 what? 4. So you see, we've now find the Arabic number for each of the various values. So the next thing we need to do is to add them. So we'll have what? 56 plus what? Plus 94. 56 plus 94 will give us what? 6 plus 4 will give us 100. 10, you write 0, you take over 1. 10 plus 9 will give us what? 9 plus 1 will give us 10. Plus 5, that will give us what? 15. So we have what? Our 100 and what? 150. Now the next thing we need to do is to now convert our 150 back to what? Our 150 back to Roman what? Numeral. So we have 100 and what? 50. We want to write it in Roman numeral. So this you normally do, as I told you last time, you have to what? Expand that algebraic number. So if we expand this, we're going to have 100 plus what? Plus 50. Now notice, follow up our key points. When a smaller Roman numeral comes behind the larger one, you will do what? You will subtract. But when a smaller one comes in front of a larger one, you do what? You add. So since this is addition, what we need to do is to what? To bring the larger one, which is what? C, and then the smaller one in front, which is what? L. So remember, our C is what? 100 and our L is what? 50. So 150 will be equal to what? C what? L. Because when the smaller Roman numeral appears in front of a larger one, you do what? You add. So you see, solving question on Roman numeral can be very, very easy if you have those 7 key symbols in your fingertips and have those 2 key points I highlighted during my first video lesson on Roman numerals. Thanks so much for watching. If you have subscribed to our channel, I say thanks so much for your subscription, and thanks once more for watching this video. If you have not, hit the subscribe button so that you will be part of those who will get our next video. Our next video, we are going to discuss more on place value. Don't miss it. Hit the subscribe button now to be the first to get that video. I look forward to seeing you watch our next video.